Chicago on a very pleasant afternoon. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Sprint. It's the Nationals' first appearance on Fox this year, and they get on TV as suddenly the most relevant and interesting story maybe in the entire sport. Washington against the White Sox today, and we welcome you to the south side of Chicago. I'm Josh Lewin. It is a very, very interesting time for the Washington Nationals. They probably became the first team ever to have two walk-offs in a stretch of 40 minutes on Thursday. First the team, then the manager. We'll talk more about that as we go today. With me to do that is Sean Casey, a very popular, very successful Major League ball player who has hung it up to do this for some reason now. He will be talking about what he sees out there today and, maybe dousing some people as well.
Just love hanging out with you, Josh. That's why I'm here.
You're the best, dude. Let's talk about the Washington Nationals and how quickly they've turned the page on all the managerial stuff.
They've turned it quickly, and they need to turn it quickly. And I think one thing we realize here is the Washington Nationals have a good ball club. They can swing it. They got a great bullpen. They got great starting pitching. This is a team that's going to be around all year long.
Well, a very crazy win for them yesterday, but they got it. They got it done. The White Sox can certainly hit as well. Paul Konerko is having an MVP caliber season. That's the guy that played with Sean Casey in Cincinnati. It's the Washington Nationals, though. They've become the story. They've won 12 out of 13. They've had walk-offs of the more conventional variety as well. It's the Nationals and the White Sox next right here on Fox. Comeback that we'll talk more about in a moment. First, the lineup for the Nationals brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Jason Worth and Ian Desmond, Ryan Zimmerman, Michael Morse is having some kind of month. Danny Espinosa, Jerry Hairston Jr., Pudge Rodriguez, Brian Bixler, and Roger Bernardina, who was the only player to have 4 hits last night in a game that lasted 5 hours and was fascinating. John Danks is on the mound. John Danks started 0-8, Sean Casey. Now he is 3-8. Looking great the last 3 times out.
Danks has been looking great and has got great stuff. He's going to use that cutter today with a great changeup.
The opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Yeah, Danks' last 3 starts, he's got an ERA of 1.23.
It's pretty good.
And as if on cue, delivers strike 1. Mike Estabrook is calling balls and strikes for you today.
I always think this is interesting with Jason Worth leading off. I mean, you give the guy so much money to be that big run producer for you, and you have him in the leadoff spot. I mean, he was a run producer out there in Philly. I almost feel like you waste what he brings as far as being that big run producer at the top of the lineup.
And it's weird to see a guy 6'5", 225 batting leadoff.
Yeah.
Socks that one foul. Now, John Danks, a native Texan, we mentioned began 0-8, but now he's back to what he's used to.
You look at that April, 0-4, but had a 3.92 ERA. Wasn't getting some of the run support. Oh, he wanted that pitch right there coming in, 94 four-seamer. Just missed.
And you got a chance to talk to Danks today. A little game plan that you got from him.
Yeah. You know, you talk to Johnny Danks, he talks about that cutter, want to work both sides of the plate and really get that changeup going, like right there. That's really his out pitch. When you face John Danks and he has that changeup going, that sets up everything for him. So when he has that working, it really sets up his fastball too.
Down the left field line, that's foul. I got to imagine there are some Jason Worth fans on the pass list here today. Grew up just a couple hours from this field down in Springfield, state capital. Also the home of former White Sox infielder Tim Hewlett, by the way. Got him. Took a half a dozen pitches, but he got him. Let's check the defense. The alignment for the White Sox is brought to you by Scotts. Lillibridge gives Juan Pierre a day off today. Pierre hitless in a 5-hour game yesterday. There's your infield. Adam Dunn really struggling in his first season here in Chicago. And Ramon Castro, not A.J. Brzezinski today. Again, a 14-inning game yesterday. Time for a little time off.
Yeah, you're going to see those catchers sitting out there as long as they can. The managers are probably trying to keep them out of the game the whole time today.
Ian Desmond towards the alley in left center, but that's going to be Alex Rios to run it down 2 away. The White Sox were off to a very tough start this year. Now they're right back into the thick of it in the AL Central. The Indians, Sean Casey's original organization,
way back when,
kind of slipping back.
Yeah, well, they're coming back there. They came out the gates strong. Detroit's really caught them, but Chicago's coming. They played some great baseball these last couple months. They're coming, and they're going to be in the mix, no doubt about it. They're too good a ball club not to be.
Ryan Zimmerman takes outside. He's missed a bunch of time this year. An abdominal muscle strain put him on the DL for a couple of months.
This has been the key, Josh. This has been the key, is getting Zim back in that lineup. And, you know, his presence makes Morse better, makes Worth better, makes Espinoza better, makes everybody better. This guy is so missed when he's out of the lineup. So he comes back. There's no coincidence. They start really winning when Zim gets back in that lineup.
And they have won 12 of their last 13. And yes, Jim Riggleman was not the manager yesterday. We all know that. But by the end of the game, Sean, the interim manager wasn't even the manager because
he got tossed.
John McLaren got run in the 8th inning.
Well, you had that situation with Konerko over there at first base, and you know, McLaren thought that when they reversed that call, McLaren came out and said, "You can't come out and reverse that call," and then he ended up getting tossed his first day as manager.
And the Washington Nationals end up winning that game in extras. They're now 39-37. With 1 loss in the last 2 weeks. Nice first inning for John Danks, includes a couple of strikeouts. Tom Gorzolani, native Chicagoan, on the mound for the Nats next. 9th, 10th, and 12th, and still somehow beat the White Sox by 4 runs. Pretty amazing. Starting lineup for the White Sox brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Lillibridge instead of Pierre up top today. Brent Morel, Carlos Quentin had a day off yesterday for personal reasons, said Ozzie Guillen. Paul Konerko on fire. He's batting cleanup. Ramirez and Dunn not on fire. Alex Rios, Ramon Castro, and Gordon Beckham. That's the lineup for the White Sox. And boy, considering how much they've spent in the division they're in, it's surprising. They've won the Central just twice in the last 10 years. They've got designs on doing that here in 2011. Today they go up against a guy who, boy, he was a big-time White Sox fan growing up around here, Tom Gorzelani.
Yeah, I played with Gorzelani in 2006 in Pittsburgh. He threw a little harder, but now Gorz is a guy, has a curveball, has a slider. His fastball is not in the mid-90s like it used to be. He's high 80s, low 90s. He's a guy that's got to pitch down. When he pitches up, guys are going to hit him out of the ballpark. Gorzelani today, his key for today is to really try and keep the ball at the knees and miss. When you miss down.
Brent Lillibridge to get it going. Battle of lefties today, Danks and Gorzelani. Right away, there goes the no-hitter. Brent Lillibridge is on.
Talk about first pitch swinging right out the gates, not wasting any time. Lillibridge gets a pitch up from Gorzelani and just smokes it to left.
So now Brent Morel, who's in a 6 of 39 slump. There are a lot of slumping White Sox.
Yeah, you go up and down that lineup, and there's not a lot of guys that have been hitting so well this year. I mean, Konerko's really been the key guy. Quentin's got some big damage numbers, but they haven't swung the bats the way they thought they were going to swing them out of spring training.
Now with Juan Pierre not batting leadoff today, Brent Lillibridge on base, not nearly the base-stealing threat that Pierre might be. The White Sox have not run much at all, Sean. They've tried. Pierre has been caught 9 times. He's only been successful 10.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, obviously Juan Pierre, one of the best base stealers in the last 10 years. So to have him caught so much, that is surprising.
Carved in right field, and Lillibridge takes that turn. He's heading to third. No throw. Runners at the corners. Carlos Quentin coming up. It begins with a couple of hits against Gorzelani, the defensive alignment for the Nationals, brought to you by Scott, Bixler, Bernadina, and Worth. Jerry Hairston Jr. is an interesting story. His dad, of course, was a big part of the winning ugly teams of 1983 here in Chicago. And Pudge Rodriguez gets to start catching today. We'll talk a lot about Pudge. Other Pudge, original Pudge, was, of course, Carlton Fisk, and he was pretty famous around these parts, too.
2 of the best catchers ever, both named Pudge. Gotta love it.
Off speed and Quentin up over top. Infield is in just a step or so. Early in a game that doesn't figure to be one of those 1-0 nail-biters today. All due respect to Tom Gorzelani. With the ERA coming in about 4.5. And Gorzelani quickly ahead 0-2.
You see out the gates, Lillibridge and Morel both fastball in, line drive to left, fastball away, line drive to right. Now you're going to start seeing this slider right here. You're going to start seeing sliders, curveballs, maybe a little bit more off the fastball. Gorzelani's got the first couple of fastballs up. They got hit well, so he's got to find a way to get another pitch working and get those guys out front.
Got a fastball to hit that time, but couldn't keep it fair. Quentin at one of those slumping Sox that we were talking about, Sean. 4 for his last 32.
Yeah, Quentin's a guy, listen, when you look at Quentin's numbers, you look at the damage he's done, 17 homers, 48 RBIs. Averages will play out. That's why he's an average, but you can't take away those big numbers he has. This is a guy, when he starts swinging and gets hot, he's going to get real hot.
Pudge Rodriguez blocks it. His son just got drafted by the Minnesota Twins. Talked to Pudge before the game, and he's all fired up that Derek is off to Fort Myers, about to begin a professional baseball career tomorrow.
That's absolutely amazing. I remember Derek a few years ago when I was with Detroit. with Pudge. And, it's amazing to think that Derek's getting drafted. It makes me feel older than Josh. That's what it makes me feel.
Sorry, bro. The runner at first base is Morel, chased back. And the White Sox, we mentioned, they don't run a lot, and they don't run very well. They have stolen 30 bases all year. They have allowed 70, which has been a real problem.
That's a real problem holding down the running game. But you know what? I don't think they run that well because you got Quinton, Konerko, and they hope, when Dunner gets it going, they got some huge bats in the middle of that lineup to drive in those runs.
Just off the plate. Well, let's talk about Adam Dunn, because obviously this has not gone well in his first year in Chicago. He has only 14 hits in this ballpark all year. We're now in the summer.
Yeah.
He's 14 for 104 here.
Yeah, Dunner has definitely struggled since he's come here over to Chicago. I mean, it's been a bunch of different things, and I think eventually he will get it going here. And I think he's not. One thing, talking to Dunner today, I said, how do you feel? He's like, I feel fine. He's like, I'm going to get it going. I know I'm going to get it going. This is close to his 10th year in the big league, so it's not panic button time. When you look at the back of his baseball card, at the end of the year what you're getting. But he obviously doesn't want to be where he's at right now at the end of June and hitting near 170. But Dunner's the type of guy playing with him. When he gets hot, he gets real hot. And, he could put 8 home runs, 9 home runs up in 1 week and be right back into it. And then people say, oh, he's having a pretty good year.
Squirting outside, 3-2.
Tried to really backdoor right there. Gore's 2-2 pitch. I mean, Quinton can't even pull the trigger there. Gorzelani tried to backdoor that one, just missed.
Well, and you've got Paul Konerko on deck. Bases loaded, nobody out for Konerko is an unsettling proposition for Gorzelani. Fouled back this way. Sean Casey was ready to grab it. Would have been your big-time debut right there.
I could have grabbed your ankles, thrown you out the window, and you could have grabbed that thing.
Well, you've caught enough baseballs.
I got to be ready right there. I got to be right here, ready to go for that thing.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up. Morel not going from first, and that ball hammered to left. Hangs near the warning track. Lillibridge coming in. White Sox ahead 1-0.
Great at bat right there by Carlos Quinton. He just kept fighting. Gorzelani tried to sneak that backdoor slider in twice. He fouled off a slider 3-2, then got the fastball he wanted right there, middle in. Just missed hitting that a long way, Josh. Just missed hitting that a real long way.
Brings up Paul Konerko, who has been hitting the ball a long way. He is second in the league with home runs at 21. He is second with 59 runs batted in. And Farazi Guillen, who has been barking about his team's poor execution. That's not bad, right? Execution-wise here in the first inning. You go first to third on a base hit and then a sac fly to get him in.
Yeah, that's execution. That's what you got to do. You got to get those runs in. You can't leave those out there, and they've done that so far. When you watch Konerko and you watch him sit up, watch how nice and easy he is. I mean, he really slows the game down, lets the ball come to him, and that's why he swings at so many strikes. Because the bottom line is, if you get a good pitch to hit, Josh, and you get it and you're able to slow it down, you're going to hit the ball hard more often than not. And that's what Paul Konerko does. When he hits it hard a lot. As you see his last 22 games, 420, 11 homers, 22 ribbies. That's hitting the ball hard a lot.
1 on, 1 out, 1-0. And Gorzelani dials it down. I don't think you want to just offer a fastball these days to Paul Konerko.
No, Gorzelani knows that too. Believe me, he reads the papers and he sees what's going on over the scouting reports that Konerko wants that ball out over the plate, wants to get his arms extended. Gorzelani's going to do the best he can to try and keep sliders down and in on Konerko today.
Taken, and it's a called third strike. Well, one of the hottest hitters in the major leagues, and down he goes.
Well, you come back, you look at that pitch by pitch here, what Gorzelani was trying to do right here. Right here, a little breaking ball. Then he comes back with a fastball in. Then he comes with that good slider slurve in, and then he freezes him. just really paints the inside corner on Paulie, and that's just one of those situations where you just say, well, how come Konerko's not swinging? You just don't pick up the ball right, and it just freezes you, and it just froze Paulie right there. Nice pitch by Gores.
Alexei Ramirez takes down and in. Ramirez had a key throwing error last night that really led to that 4-run 14th. Nine to 5 in the final yesterday in 14 innings. The Nationals struck out 17 times in that game and they won.
That's good living right there.
Man, most strikeouts by White Sox pitching in 5 years in one game, and they lose. John McLaren was not around to see the finish. He watched on TV, thrown out of that game in the 8th inning.
I'm sure he was somewhere around that dugout somewhere, maybe lurking in the tunnel.
Well, and we're going to need 14 innings today, partner, to explain all the Jim Riggleman stuff.
We need way more than 14 innings.
We'll get into that next inning. Start to anyway, but boy, what a crazy time around this Washington franchise. About last night, since we're in Chicago, throw that out there. There's the 4-run top of the 14th. The Nationals becoming the first team in 35 years to win after losing the lead 3 times, 9th inning or later. It happened in Pittsburgh, your hometown, when you were 2.
I was 2 years old. I don't remember that one. I was sucking down baby bottles then.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Ramirez. A long first inning for Gorzelani, who, in his last start, by the way, Sean, needed only 7 pitches to get through the first inning against Baltimore. He's at 21 here.
Yeah, he's definitely laboring through this first inning. And, like I said, Lillibridge and Morel got on right away and kind of started that habit.
That should get him out of it. But a run in. The sac fly by Quentin makes it 1-0 Chicago. Today's game presented by Sprint is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Boy, talk about a buzzkill. You've just won your 11th game out of 12, gotten above 500 for the first time in 6 years. You're about to fly to Chicago to tear up a town that loves to be torn up. And then, wait, what? The manager just resigned?
I mean, what a shock. All those guys.
40% of the managers in the NL East have resigned this past week. Neither Edwin Rodriguez nor Jim Riggleman got fired. They both walked away. And Rodriguez did it with his team having lost 17 of 18. I think that one people kind of understood. Michael Morse having a fantastic last few weeks.
I mean, look at this graph right here. Since he moved to first base, since LaRoche is out, 344, 12 homers, 34 RBIs. That's unbelievable. Yeah, talking to Michael Morse before the game, you know, I think it's one of those confidence things where, hey, man, you're going to be our first baseman. You don't have to worry about going 0 for 4 and not playing the next day. You're going to be out there no matter what. And this is a game of confidence when you play up here in the big leagues. And Michael Morse has got a chance to really settle into first base, know he's going to be there every day, and he's put up huge numbers to show for it.
Well, last night he haunted the team that originally drafted him. Morse breaking open a scoreless game in the 8th with a home run.
That was not only a home run, that was an absolute missile. Field. I mean, if anyone else hits that, it's a line drive up the middle. You know, Michael Morse hits it, and it's just an absolute rocket. I mean, watch this right here. Just boom. I mean, just an absolute explosion. I mean, off that backdrop. What a rocket.
A little bit inside. And yeah, just a couple of years ago, Morse was stuck at Seattle's AAA team as a utility infielder. You know, Seattle might be just one bat away from really contending in that AL West. Would they like to have Michael Morse back right about now?
They'd love to have him back. You know, sometimes you get that label. Is what happens. You get the label.
Slowly hit, scooped up. Morel cross diamond, the tag going by. Yes, they got it.
Nice play by Dunner right there. You know, as a first baseman, your main concern is get the ball. If the ball's away from the base, get off the base and get the ball. Dunner does a nice job right here of realizing he's not going to be able to stay on the base. He gets that tag on Morse. Throw up the line.
Morse, one of those guys that's had to comment, been asked to comment on the managerial situation. I think all these guys, Sean, are handling it very well. They're saying the right things. But I think very much stung by the fact that their guy just up and left.
Well, talking to a few guys down there today, and they were talking about, hey, they were shocked. They were absolutely blindsided that Riggleman ended up you know, resigning and really bailing on these guys. When you look at it, I mean, they're right in the thick of things. They've won a bunch of games in a row. They've had a bunch of walk-off wins, and then your manager you know, leaves you. So I think all those guys were surprised down there and shocked. But you talk to a few of them, they say, you know what, hey, 25, 30 minutes after this whole thing happened, we realized we got to move on. We got a ball game to play tomorrow. We still have a grind of a season to go, 80-some games to go. We got to get back after it. So I think that's the mentality right now, and you saw it last night.
Espinosa hit by the pitch, and off he goes to first. Jerry Hairston Jr. comes up next. Yeah, Riggleman basically performing the full-on Johnny paycheck. He told his boss to take this job and shove it, and he did that while his team was on that 11 out of 12 run.
Yep, it was just, like I said, it was amazing to see you know, Riggleman really leave his team at a time where you know, things were really coming together for the Nationals. And you know, it's never one player or one manager down there that makes things work. I mean, the bottom line is that's a team down there of trying to win ball games. So it's amazing that he ended up leaving at the time he did.
Got the infield, the double play depth, the 1-0 lead for Chicago. And a strike to Hairston. Well, Jim Riggleman, who is a good guy, believed he deserved better. Kind of after being a good organizational soldier his whole career, he feared, probably correctly so, that just when things were really going to pop with the Nationals, when they signed some more free agents, when Bryce Harper comes up and Strasburg comes back, he'd be shoved aside for a flashier hire. So he took a stand, he pushed the envelope, and basically is now covered in soot from the backfire.
You know, you look at it and you say, you know, Riggleman really had a chance to finish this year out, even if he was upset. And you could tell your friends and tell, you know, some of your buddies they got him picked off.
They got him. Now the tag with that ball coming loose. And that's the fundamentals kind of thing that Ozzie Guillen's been seething about.
Yeah, well, watch Dunner right here. You know, not typically a first baseman. I mean, he's really learned the position the last couple of years. Watch, he doesn't set his feet. Set the angle, and then he just kind of steps and throws it. He throws it on the run, almost jump throws it. I mean, really in this situation, you have to come off the base, come get that baseball, set your angle to second base, and make a strong throw. I mean, Dunner really just kind of got the ball and almost jumped through it to Ramirez over there at short.
That still looked like a catchable throw, though, didn't it, from Ramirez?
It was definitely catchable. It was definitely catchable. And, you know, on both ends, it wasn't fundamentally sound.
It goes as a stolen base.
Wow.
Lucky for both men.
Yeah.
Right there.
Could have been a double error.
A chance for Hairston now. strike taken above the belt. We'll get back to the Riggleman, McLaren, Davey Johnson thing in a moment. Hairston saying before the game he had no idea that he was tossed out of that game last night with McLaren. That the umpire said literally, by the way.
You're out of here.
You're out. And Jerry said, by the way? You're going to throw me out by saying, by the way?
Yeah, by the way, hit the showers. What?
Well, it was a weird play. John McLaren came out to argue it was an overturned call at first. The only reason Hairston was on the field, he was on his way out to left field. He's the left fielder and had his glove and may or may not have said something jogging by. His contention was, after being told, well, you're on the field, you came out. He's like, dude, I'm going to left field. I thought the inning was over. So that's why I'm on the field. But by the way, you're not here anymore.
If you go back and watch that replay, too, the whole team's yelling.
Yeah, that's right. Popped in right for out number 2. Well, it had a happy ending for Washington. They won 9-5. The Ford keys to the game. I pitch it to you, Mr. Sean Casey.
I think a big thing for the Nationals is Gorzelani's got to keep the ball down in the zone. And the White Sox, they got to get runs early like they're trying to do, set the tone for Danks. But got a situation right here.
Yeah, Herm Schneider is out there and trying to see what he's favoring. Pointing to that
hip flexor
area.
That's not good. Obviously, that's what you're driving with. You're driving off your backside, but you're landing with that front hip flexor. Takes all the blow.
Well, and keep in mind, with a 14-inning game yesterday, it's not like they are thick in the bullpen today.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, what a day to not have this happen when the starter comes out of the game. Is with that bullpen being so strapped from last night, you're starting to see some action out there in the bullpen.
Last start for Danks, it was a ball that came back and hit him that was a concern. This is not off a hip flexor. This was scary.
Oh, you never want to see that ball taken in the head right here. Jeez.
Well, he had the CAT scan right after, and as scary as that looked, he said, I knew I was fine. And the CT scan backed him up. It was no big deal, but we'll see how big a deal this hip flexor thing is going to be for John Danks. This is problematic. Big time, not just for today, but they were just getting John Danks going again.
This is a big blow right here if this is a DL situation. But anytime you got a pitcher coming out of the game in the second inning.
Wow, Brian Bruney's going to have to come on in the second inning. Back in a moment. And 2/3. He was delivering this pitch to Jerry Hairston Jr. Wincing right there, Sean Casey, and favoring the hip flexor, we believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good. Obviously, for a pitcher, you rely so much on that rotation in your hips. And you can see Danks says right here, I mean, something grabbing right there, pinching me right in the hip flexor. That's never a good injury to have for a pitcher. But more importantly, that's a big blow for the White Sox today, having that long game last night, having to use a lot of their bullpen. Now Danks is out of the game, and Brian Bruney's got to come in and kind of save the day.
Yeah, 7 innings from their bullpen yesterday, and they're going to need about that this afternoon. Brian Bruney has not pitched more than an inning and 2/3 all year. 40 pitches is the most pitches he's had in a game. And if they can squeeze, 30 out of him after pitching about 20 last night, I would say that's about the max, right?
Yeah, if they can get an inning or 2 out of Bruney, it'd be great. If they can get 2 innings out of Bruney, that'd be huge.
The Sox bullpen collectively last night, 140 pitches. Hey, just a reminder, this July, baseball's biggest stars gathering together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night, the summer's biggest event. Fox bringing you every thrilling moment of the All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. And don't forget, you can see a special world premiere sneak preview of the upcoming Fox show, The X Factor, during that broadcast. All right, so now we've got a moment or two, probably not a bad time to get back to the Washington Nationals and this bizarre thing that's come down for them. And it really seems like this has quickly become like that Twilight nonsense, Sean. You're either Team Rizzo or Team Riggleman. You have an opinion one way or the other as John McLaren steps in. So after what's happened, what is Jim Riggleman? Is he principled? Is he selfish? Or can it be both?
I think it can be both. I really do. I think it is both. I mean, I think he is definitely principled by feeling disrespected, but I also think for Jim Riggleman, you gotta think to yourself, all right, let me get out of the emotional part of feeling disrespected and see what the big picture is on where this team's going, where I want to go in my career, and try and win this season. I think that's where Riggleman, I don't know if he's kicking himself now, looking back a couple days later to say, boy, maybe I didn't make the right decision.
Pudge Rodriguez will get a chance here against Bruney, a 1-0 lead for Chicago, but they've lost their starter, John Danks. It's tough feeling like you're just a bookmark, I'm sure, a placeholder for somebody else, and that's what Jim Riggleman seems to be talking about now. But since there are only 30 of these jobs in the world, right, Major League Baseball manager, there is a school of thought that says no matter how much you're getting disrespected, just hang on, baby.
30 jobs in the world. These guys do that. It's not easy to get those jobs. And I think the message is sent too is, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at it, a lot of people feel disrespected in their jobs, but you can't just leave up and quit and back out on your team that you've been training since spring training and you're trying to get to win a pennant.
Well, in essence, I think Riggleman said he was getting too old to be disrespected. I'm 58. If I'm not going to get shown some love now, I don't know when I'm gonna. I mean, this is my dream job. I'm doing a great job. Why can't you throw me a bone? Basically, is I think what he put out there, and what he heard back is not something he wanted to hear.
Well, I also think that they had talked about it earlier, and Mike Rizzo said at the end of the year we'll address it, and I think that's the time. Let Jim Riggleman go out there, win ball games, have this. He's got a great club. When you're a great manager, when you have a great club, he's got a great club. He goes out there, wins this season, then he gets that extension. Then he has a case.
The 1-1 to Pudge Rodriguez is sliced out of play. Well, and it's funny because Mike Rizzo, the GM, he had to kind of go that route himself. He was told by the organization, lifetime baseball guy. We know you're a lifetime baseball guy, but you got to prove yourself. That's what Stan Kasten told him. Might be unfair, but okay, he swallowed his pride and he did it. Jim Riggleman, in fairness, did that for a while. But as of 48 hours, he just decided, I'm out. I'm not doing that anymore.
And you have to look at it, too, the big picture. They only won 69 games last year. It wasn't like they went to the playoffs last year and then he feels disrespected because they're doing great again. They only won 69 games last year, and they're playing better this year.
Hoisted into left. Lillibridge lays out, and he makes that catch. Run would have scored. Lillibridge makes sure it isn't so. It stays 1-0. Chicago. By Sprint is sponsored by Select 55. The superior taste makes it Select. The 55 calories makes it the lightest beer in the world. We're talking about light things, and here comes Adam Dunn to the place.
He's not light. He's the furthest thing from light.
What'd you guys call him in Cincinnati? The big donkey?
The big donkey, yeah. Not the little donkey, the big donkey.
I know it's more challenging to hit your weight when you are shaped like Adam Dunn, but there is a perception out there, Sean Casey, that Dunn's last name is now spelled D-O-N-E. And Nationals GM Mike Rizzo, who was thrilled with it the 2 years he got out of him in Washington, among those saying, don't write him off quite yet.
Listen, do not write this guy. I've played with him so many years in Cincinnati. Didn't like that call right there, but I mean, Dunn, this guy, he can hit. He can flat out hit. He's, has that appendectomy at the beginning of the year, new team, new city, getting used to a DH role. Listen, this guy can hit. He's going to hit at some point here, and he's going to get hot. I mean, he's the kind of guy that can hit, like we talked about before, 8, 9, 10 home runs in a week, get right back into where he needs to do. Now, he's got to do better against lefties when you can see this stat right here where he's hitting .020.
Yeah, and now he is 1 for 50 against lefties, and you can hear the reception he's getting. The only hit off a lefty, by the way, was an infield hit off the Tigers' Charlie Furbush. Not exactly, taking Cliff Lee deep.
Yeah, he just struggled against lefties. Looks like that front side's flying open. He's maybe not getting down and getting started earlier. He needs to get that front foot down a little earlier. But when you're a lefty on lefty, when you start hitting lefties, that really helps you your whole swing, and it helps you hitting righties too.
Rios now the batter, and our statsman Ethan Cooperson points out that Dunn in his career has close to 100 home runs against lefties. It's not like he's never hit lefties. Rios pops to Morris, but boy, 1 for 50 is alarming.
That's alarming. That's what I mean. Dunn is just not himself yet this season, and he will get hot. This is the first half of the season. I talked to him today. He's not panicking. Like I said, he'd like to be hitting better, but he's going to get hot here. He's never been a high average guy anyhow. If he ends up hitting 245, 250 this year with some home runs and RBIs, that's going to be pretty impressive. So there's still a lot of season to go.
With 2 down, it's Ramon Castro up there. Well, who else had a season that kind of started like this for Chicago back in 2003? It's Paul Konerko.
Yep.
Paul Konerko was hitting 190 at the All-Star break that year. A lot of people thought that he might be done, so to speak. Nope.
Yeah, no, he's still one of the best players in the game. I mean, sometimes you just can't get it going. It's a confidence thing. It's a, balls you hit hard to right at people. It's just one of those situations where you can't explain. You can't explain. Dunn hitting 170, Konerko back in 03 hitting 190. I mean, the bottom line is you just can't get out of it. It's a rut you can't get out of, and you just got to hit your way out of it, work your way out of it, and mentally stay strong.
Slap left side. Jerry Hairston Jr. rolls over. And it gets by Michael Morse. That would have been spectacular. But Morse couldn't help Hairston stick the landing.
Great play right there by Jerry Hairston, throwing from his back. Morse just isn't able. Right here, he gets a good read. Look at that. Look how much ground he covers on the dive. Can't get to his feet in the throw. Castro doesn't run well, but Morse just not able to pick this ball up. This is not an easy pick. It's kind of a long hop pick, and it's one of those ones that it's not a hard thrown ball. It's kind of a lofted over, but Morse just isn't able to pick this one out of the dirt.
Gordon Beckham, the batter. We talked about Jerry Hairston, Sr., playing for the Chicago White Sox back in the day. Jerry Jr. was 6 years old when the White Sox were in the ALCS against Baltimore. And Hairston says he remembers a pep rally here in downtown Chicago. There was an Oriole bird piñata, and Ron Kittle took the microphone and a stick, and he said, "This is what we're going to do to Baltimore." And the piñata smashed open, and Jerry Hairston Jr. raced under it and grabbed all the candy.
Yep. Yeah. Give me those Jolly Ranchers.
Laced, but foul. 0-2 on Beckham. Then Beckham, another one of those White Sox who has it in him. He had a great second half last year. It comes in today hitting just around 230. Got a balk. Well, so now the White Sox get a man in a scoring position. Did you see it, Sean? Honestly, I didn't.
Oh, I didn't see what happened there. He's not arguing, so Gorzelani knows he did something.
I think Bill Welke was the guy that called it out at second. And no argument from either side. And now that one getting away on a third strike. Pudge Rodriguez, the multi-time Gold Glover, couldn't hold that one. I don't know if he got crossed up or what happened, but that's a weird way to have runners at the corners all of a sudden.
That was a weird looking play. I mean, it almost looked like in that situation that's a foul tip to the back, but Beckham doesn't get any piece of this ball. Pudge just flat out misses it.
That is a rare passed ball on the future Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez. Reaching for it a little, but didn't look like that much.
Yeah. No.
Here's the balk, by the way.
Yeah, he moved. See, he started making that movement and stopped. Once you start moving, you can't stop. And Gorzelani started moving, stopped. Now he's got first and third.
And Lillibridge the batter. Well, the bigger picture story for the White Sox, even though they're leading right now, John Danks out of the game while pitching to Hairston in that top of the second inning. Hip flexor, we believe. Pudge fires too high. Hairston nowhere near the bag. And suddenly the team is having some weird fundamental things happening as Hairston tries a hidden ball trick and it doesn't work. It's Washington. It's kind of having a weird wonky inning.
Yeah, when we saw it earlier with the White Sox with that play from Dunn to Ramirez, now we're seeing it here. Look at Castro. Castro, really doesn't expect Pudge is going to do it. He turns the Pudge, starts yelling at him right here.
And if Castro doesn't keep his hand on the bag, he's going to be tagged out because Hairston never fired the ball back to Gorzelani.
Yeah, Hairston tried the little hidden ball trick. Hey, I haven't given it up yet. But Hairston wasn't even close to the base there. No. Pudge fired it down there.
Hairston was closer to being in left field when he received that ball. All right, so a balk, a strikeout passed ball, then almost a hidden ball trick. Two and two the count to Lillibridge. By the way, the Nationals general manager, Mr. Mike Rizzo, is going to join us in the third inning. We'll try to kind of put a cap on the whole Jim Riggleman situation. We'll look ahead to when the Davey Johnson announcement is coming, if it is coming. We'll get all the latest from the GM himself. And And we'll do it next, as finally Gorzelani is out of the inning. It stays 1-0. We'll return to Chicago after a word from your local Fox station. Presented by Sprint, a 1-0 lead for the Chicago White Sox. And John Danks is already out of the game because of an injury, a hip flexor injury, it appeared. Brian Bruni is the man on the mound, at least for a while. Brian Bixler, the batter. And Mike Rizzo was the guy who was involved when Brian Bruni signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks way back when. And Mike Rizzo happens to be in the booth with us now. Didn't really bring him in here to talk Brian Bruni, though.
Exactly.
There's a lot of other stuff going on, obviously, and what can you tell us about? First of all, have you and Jim Riggleman spoken at all, Mike, since you left his office on Thursday?
You know, Josh, we're moving past the Jim Riggleman situation. We've discussed it ad nauseum, in the last couple of days. We're looking forward to. We're playing great baseball. We need to focus on that. The players need to focus on the Chicago White Sox and beyond, and we're ready to move on.
In terms of moving on, Davey Johnson, the rumor is all but done. Is that accurate?
I think the accurate way to portray it is that we've come to terms, we've agreed to terms, but there's certain formalities that have to be ironed out. Davey's been a guy that I brought in as my senior advisor to the GM 2 years ago. He's been a great sounding board for me, a great mentor in many ways for me, and he's one of the guys with the best baseball acumen that I've ever been around. So we're fortunate that he was so close and so available for us, and we're looking for him to take this thing and hit the ground running, and for us to continue to focus on baseball and to play great ball.
Are there any concerns, Mike? I mean, and it's weird because at 68 years old, he's the youngest managerial hire by 12 years this week. But that one inside. Is there any concern about how he'll relate to a very young team that's only going to get younger once the Bryce Harpers and all that come up, right?
I have no worries whatsoever. Davey's always been on the cutting edge. This is a guy who was employing sabermetrics before there was even sabermetricians. So this guy is, like I said, he's a thinking man's manager. He's a player's manager, and he's a guy who loves the game, knows the game inside out, and has a track record that's second to none.
Hey, talking about, you just mentioned Bryce Harper. I think that's a name we all talk about. The first pick overall in the draft has got off to a hot start at A-ball. It's going to be in the Futures game coming up next week at the All-Star game. What's the timetable for him? I mean, what are you thinking? What is your thought process for Bryce Harper?
You know, Sean, my thought process on Bryce and a lot of other players, you know, he's an extremely gifted player. He's, as we call, an accelerated 18-year-old player. But he needs to learn the nuances of the game, you know, the everydayness, the grind of professional baseball. And furthermore, I think to get his legs in any major league clubhouse, he has to show that he's ridden the buses, he's eaten in the diners, and that he's done his tutelage in the lower levels. I think that's important for his development. And plus, it's a position change for him coming out of junior college. He was a catcher. We made him immediately into an outfielder, and he's a guy with special skills, and he's got a great personality and a great makeup, and a guy that once he gets to Washington, D.C., we hope will never go back.
Berardino, the batter, takes high. All right, so and real quick, if you don't mind, Mike, back to Davey Johnson. As you look at Bryce Harper again, that's the future of the franchise in many ways. Davey Johnson is going to be, what do you figure? I mean, as a 68-year-old guy, is this a 3-year, a 5-year plan with him? Is he here just for a year? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Davey's part of the furniture. Put it that way. He's he signed a long-term contract he signed a long-term consultant contract. Like we said, we're figuring out dotting the I's and crossing the T's on that. But he's going to manage the team through 11. We're going to reevaluate after the season. Davey will be a part of the reevaluation process. We're going to do a manager search. He'll be part of the manager search. He'll be one of the candidates for the manager search, and we'll see what happens after that. But Davey is going to be in the organization for a long time. As long as Mike Rizzo is running the organization, Davey Johnson will be part of the organization.
What do you expect to happen, Mike, to a very good baseball man in John McLaren? Is he expected to stay on the staff? What about the rest of this coaching staff?
John and I are going to discuss things a little bit later on, but you know, we've got an understanding and a plan for John McLaren. I'm not going to go into it right now because it's still fresh in my mind, and John and I have to hammer out a few of those final details also. The rest of the staff, you know, Davey's going to meet with them when we get to L.A. and you know, he's familiar with all the staff. He was in spring training with us, so he knows all these guys, and he knows what they can do, and I think that he'll be. I know he's a big fan of a lot of those guys, and I don't see much turnover, if any.
1-0 White Sox. Mike Rizzo, Nats GM, visiting with us here on Fox. Jason Worth, the batter, and you are the guy that essentially, all right, I'll be corny. You decided Jason's worth. You decided how much to pay the guy and to bring him in, and your thoughts so far about what you got.
Well, Jason is, you know, beyond his batting average and the numbers that you see on the screen, he's brought so much to the franchise. I mean, his leadership in the clubhouse and really teaching the younger players and mentoring the younger players on how to play the game, how to bring it every day to the ballpark has been terrific for us. His presence in the lineup is great. His presence in the clubhouse, on the team flights, and in the community is great. We think that you know, he's going to you know, get his normal averages and get his numbers, because I think all veteran players with track records do, and you know, there's gonna be teams to pay for his 238 batting average, because we feel that his average is going to even out.
And it's an average, you know, it goes up and down all year long. Hey, what about another big right-handed hitter in your lineup, Michael Morse, who's really got a chance to play this year and's really stepped up big? Did you expect this from him? Well,
you know, I call Mike Morris, you know, he's a scouting and development success story for me, and of course, you know, in my background, that's the backbone of any organization. You know, when we decided to make a trade, Seattle called us about making a trade for Ryan Langerhans. We scoured the Mariners system. Mike Morris is the guy that we came up with as the guy that we wanted to.
Got him. Castro, after all that throwing to first by Bruni, and maybe that helped a little bit. But that's the first time a White Sox catcher has thrown out an attempted base stealer in 21 tries. We'll check this out and see if it was actually out or not. He might have been in there. I'm not sure. But Castro gets credit for the first caught stealing for a White Sox catcher in close to 3 weeks. Sorry to cut you off there, Mike.
No, that you know, so you know, that's the way I think about that. So
And Morrison, you guys, again, it's weird, obviously, that the managerial upheaval has been a part of this. But the bottom line is you guys have won 12 out of 13. What are your thoughts? It's a very competitive NL East, obviously. You've still got some hills to climb here.
Well, we think that we can compete with any ball club. I've said that since the beginning, and really since the beginning of the season, we've played terrific baseball. Now, there was a 2-month period where we didn't hit with runners in scoring position. That was our Achilles heel. But when you realize that we played without our 3- and 5-hole hitters almost for a third of the season healthy, with Ryan Zimmerman and Adam LaRoche, you can understand that there'll be some offensive woes. It puts pressure on the other parts of the lineup, and you've got bench and utility players playing every day for you. But since Zim came back, you kind of stabilized the lineup. We've been much more efficient with runners in scoring position, and we continue to starting pitch well. Our bullpen has been well, and we're really playing good defense, which goes hand in hand, as you know, Sean, with the betterment of the pitching staff.
When I look at your club and I look how good you guys done, I love the arms you have out of the bullpen. With the guys you've developed, 95. Everyone seems to throw 95 with some sort of great secondary pitch. I mean, talk about your pen.
Well, that. It's a philosophical thing with me. I think in this day and age, in the day and age of specialties and specialty relievers, that you come out of the pen, you've got to have power arms out of the pen. I think there's few and far between guys that can come in and trick guys late in games, and it's part of I think it's part of the landscape now where you go in there and guys, every guy you bring in is, and it's just not our team. I notice it all over baseball. Everybody's coming in blowing,
throwing gas,
and it's back in the day where you tried to grind out the starting pitcher to get to the bullpen. Nowadays, oftentimes the bullpen guys are better than the starters.
Yeah, you don't want to get there.
Well, Mike, we can't thank you enough for coming up here and talking all this through with us. If you had to guess an announcement on Davey Johnson or whoever it's going to be, I know you think it's going to be Davey, is when?
I think it's going to be very, very soon. Like I said, we're just trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. So with that process, I think we're very close.
You come home to Chicago. I know you had this circled on your calendar for forever. In a million years, did you think I'm going to come in here winning 11 out of 12 and my manager just quit?
No, I wouldn't have thought that, Josh.
That's not the way you had it drawn up.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Mike Rizzo. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Continued success to you. Thank you very much. Brian Bruni, scouted and signed by Mike Rizzo, is out of the inning. Go to ChevyBaseball.com to support youth baseball, plus enter to win one of 4 trips to the All-Star Game and the keys to a new Chevrolet. White Sox still on top 1-0. Josh Lewin, Sean Casey with you here on Fox today. And the White Sox have 2, 3, 4 in the order. In the bottom of the third, there's a bunt from Brent Morel that is foul. The developing story here today is that John Danks had to leave the game in the second inning with what looked like a hip flexor strain. Brian Bruni has given them 25 pitches, and Jake Peavy has gone to the bullpen starting to loosen. He was supposed to be the starting pitcher this coming Thursday. Dunked into right field, base hit Morel. He's 2 for 2. Both times to right.
I was going to say, second hit today for Morel. Got pitches out over the plate on that outside half. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Kind of shoots it to right field for a second hit.
Now, Jake Peavy has made 1 relief appearance professionally since he started out in the Arizona, I guess that would have been just developmental rookie league. Once for the Fort Wayne Wizards, not far from here, in the year 2000, did he get into a game as a reliever. That was 11 years ago, and that was in Fort Wayne.
Well, this is the one time they definitely need Jake Peavy to step up.
Quentin blasting away. But in left center field, there is Bernardina to get it.
That's the second ball today Quentin's just missed. That ball was kind of middle away, a pitch that he really couldn't get his arms extended fully. Kind of ended up reaching for it and flying out the center.
Well, you wouldn't have thought Paul Konerko would have maybe his best all-around year ever at age 34. That was last year. Now this year at age 35, he's been even better.
This guy can flat out hit. He knows what he's doing. And you watch Paul up there, just feel like he doesn't give pitches away mentally. He tries to get good pitches, and he just has a game plan every time up there.
You know, Dirk Nowitzki just won a basketball championship in Dallas. I think there's an example of a guy who was already real good, but just kept getting better every year. I think Paul Konerko is exactly like that, too.
He really is. You can't teach experience, and all the experience Paul Konerko's had, the ups and the downs. We talked about that slow start in 03. It all helps to make you the player he is today.
Ozzie Guillen was talking the other day about how well Konerko is playing at this age. He says he likens it to what Jack McKeon told the Florida media, saying, my birth certificate says I'm 80, but hey, I'm not 80. Konerko is 35. I can prove it, but he's playing like he's 25.
He is. He's playing like he's in his prime. Driving the ball, driving runs in, hitting for a high average. It's been impressive to watch Paul hit this year.
Like Gorzelani, though, has pitched him well a couple of at-bats so far.
He has pitched well. Gorzelani's trying to mix pitches up with him. You know, fastball, slider. You know, just try and mix it up with Paulie, give him different looks. Try not to hit something out over the plate that Paulie can really drive.
In the air to right field. That ball goes near the track and dies right there. Konerko trailing only Frank Thomas on the White Sox all-time home run and RBI list. And arrived in Chicago only because he was blocked at first base in Cincinnati by a certain broadcast partner of mine. They were so high on you.
I know.
If you had stunk,
yeah.
he might never have been a Chicago White Sox.
You know what? I always joke around with Paulie and say, hey man, you'll be having 500 home runs one day, and I'll just be up here talking about you. You know, it was impressive. I mean, having him over there, he's such a good guy. But you know, we were both young kids. He was 21, I was 23, and you know, the glove that he uses, that glove right there. That was the glove I used rookie year, and I not that glove exactly, but the Wilson glove, and we know he liked it. I used to let him use it at first base, and he always says, I still use that glove because our rookie year you let me use your glove, and I really liked it. So, Paul, you owe me all those picks you got over there at first base. It's all owed to me, pal.
All that he is today.
All that he is today.
He owes to Sean Casey. Yeah.
Look at that right there. 386 homers. He has only hit 256 more than I did. And he's still playing.
Ramirez pops one near second base. And Espinosa's got it. It stays 1-0 Chicago on Fox. sponsored by Ford, Drive One, and by AT&T, Rethink Possible. We'll talk to Ozzie Guillen in just a moment, the White Sox manager, who definitely has to manage some things today with John Danks out, hip flexor or oblique injury, we believe. We'll get the latest on that from Ozzie in just a moment or two. Ryan Zimmerman leads off the fourth inning for Washington. The Nationals have won 12 out of 13.
This is a big reason they've won 12 of 13. I mean, Ryan Zimmerman coming back in this lineup has just been huge for them. As soon as he got back into it, seems like everything's starting to fall back into place. And like Mike Rizzo was talking about, it allows for those roles to happen. It allows for Alex Cora and Jerry Harrison to go back to the bench. Ryan Zimmerman goes back into the lineup at third base. It sets everybody's role back up.
Now, Brian Bruney, who threw 18 pitches yesterday, and he's had to throw a couple dozen here in relief of Danks, doing a pretty nice job. Peavy is warming in the bullpen again, has never pitched in the major leagues in a relief role. Looks like Bruney doesn't need to come out quite yet. Talked to Ozzie Guillen between innings and asked him what he knows about the injury to Mr. Danks.
Oh, he got some problem in his oblique, and I don't know how long it could be out. I think that's an injury you really not want to happen. That's a very tough injury.
In terms of what the game plan is now, obviously you got a little bit out of Bruney. We saw Jake Peavy go into the bullpen. What are your thoughts about the rest of today?
Well, right now, hopefully we can go through this inning with Bruney. If something going to happen, Peavy's going to follow him, but hopefully all plans right now is hopefully Bruney can come out of this one.
Oz, what's been your you and Greg Walker as far as trying to get Adam Dunn going, trying to get him swinging the bat the way you know he can? What has been your role so far in trying to make that happen?
Well, one thing about it is not lose his confidence. That's the main thing, and make sure he knows he's a good hitter. Make sure the thing don't get into his mind. And when you got the numbers you put in the past, you always have the hopes and the positive thing is going to come out. But the main thing for us or for me is just make sure not get into your mind.
Ozzie, thanks for joining us.
All right, bro.
Take care.
Thanks, Oz.
Michael Morse, formerly of this White Sox organization. 94 from Bruney, right around the plate this whole time. Now, if they can get through this fourth inning with Bruney, get 3 or 4 from Peavy.
It's just patchwork right now. Getting Bruney out there. Bruney can give them a couple innings, over 2 innings. That's huge for them. Have Peavy come in, maybe finish it off.
Or, I mean, it could be one of those, and we didn't ask Ozzie this, but, if Peavy is scheduled to pitch Thursday, I'm just thinking along with Ozzie. I don't know if he's looking for Peavy to go.
Maybe it's like a bullpen session
right,
for him. He gets out there, throws a couple innings, throws some pitches, and does well, though. We don't want it to be a bullpen session where he's just throwing it over the right hard of the plate.
Towering drive by Morse. Remember, he hit one on top of the tool shed out there yesterday. This one does not quite get there.
He just missed that pitch. I mean, that ball just got in on Morse's hands just enough, Bruney, to get him to pop up to center field. But man, he just missed hitting that ball a long way.
Brings up a viable Rookie of the Year candidate in Danny Espinosa. Converted shortstop from the infielder factory at Long Beach State. Pushing the bunt towards second base, and Beckham barehanded got him. Quick inning for Bruney. He's done his thing. It stays 1-0 Chicago. Lefty to lefty, Gorzelani to Dunn for strike one, opening things up here last of the fourth. Josh Lewin, Sean Casey with you on Fox today. Hottest team in baseball, the Washington Nationals, here to play the White Sox. And Adam Dunn, as has been reported, only one hit all year against a lefty. 1 for 50 now, and trying to square up and get something done against Gorzelani. That was close.
Whenever you're lefty on lefty, you really got to try and stay in there, and that's what he needs to really do, is just stay in there on Gorzelani.
By the way, today's game is on American Forces Network, watched by United States military in 175 countries, and it ships at sea as well.
The one thing I do like, though, with Ozzie is let Dunner keep going out there. You paid him all this money. He's hit lefties. It's over 100 home runs off lefties in his career. Let him keep going out there and playing and hit his way out of it. You can't just put him on the bench and do that thing where you put righties in there. He doesn't play against lefties. Let Dunn go out there, play against the lefties, and get himself out of it.
Well, you're paying him enough to give him that chance.
Yeah.
Right?
56 million reasons.
Well, and as you said, you look at the back of his baseball card. He's done this before, done it well.
Gorzelani wanted that pitch right there.
Yeah, he did. Only Albert Pujols has more home runs since '04 than this guy. Now, with the frustrations continue and mount. He struck out a couple of times. Let's check out a DirecTV game break while we have an opportunity. And take you to the Yankees and the Colorado Rockies. CC Sabathia can stretch out those pinstripes a little bit. He's striking out Jonathan Herrera right there, 8th inning. And then Mark Teixeira. 22nd home run. Teixeira now second in the major leagues in home runs. Get every Major League Baseball game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Rios pegs one in the left. Well, Gorzelani has allowed some hits here, but so far, Mr. Casey, they've all been singles.
Gorzelani's spreading them out. A lot of damage control. He's had a couple of guys on base, first and third, first and second situations that he's pitching his way out of. And nobody's really done that. Got that big hit off him. A lot of singles spread out.
Now Ramon Castro settles in front of Pudge Rodriguez. Those guys are from the same hometown, Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. Juan Gonzalez from there as well. Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez, teammates for a long time. And Sean, you played with Pudge Rodriguez in Detroit.
Yep.
I think a lot of people figured, okay, he was kind of lucky to get a 4-year deal to go there. Aging catchers don't usually get 4-year deals. That was a long time ago, and he's still playing pretty well.
I'm talking to Pudge before the game today. He still thinks he's got 2, 3, 4 more years in him, too. He's in great shape. He keeps himself in great shape. And I think as long as he does that, he can continue to play, especially if he gets a backup role. He can continue to play it probably 4 more years, but he keeps himself in great shape. And you look at the games called active leaders. I mean, 2,421 games. That's a lot of games to be kneeling down back there.
I think one thing's going to be very interesting is Davey Johnson comes in. Does he go with the young catcher Wilson Ramos almost exclusively? Or does he honor Pudge Rodriguez trying to chase 3,000 hits? Oh, Davey Johnson's just going to want to win.
Yeah, he wants to win no matter if it's Ramos or Pudge, whoever's going to give him the best chance to win. But you look at Ramos, and I was shaking this kid's hands today. I mean, they were 3 times the size. I mean, this guy is a monster. I mean, he just gripped my hands. It was like a vice grip. And, that's what guys talk about. They talk about the ball sounds loud off his bat. I think he's going to be a great player. I know the Twins did not want to give him up in that Matt Capps deal, and Nationals got a good find.
Castro draws a walk, and regarding Pudge Rodriguez, it was right here that he made his big league debut. It was June of 1991. We're talking 20 years ago. And at the age of 20 years old, he throws out a pair of runners, one of whom is now his teammate, Alex Cora, another guy that is just incredible is still playing. He has a 2-run single in the 9th inning of that game. He's 20 years old. It all happened here in Chicago. There is the first career hit. A then very skinny Pudge. And even skinnier Juan Gonzalez. Did you see that?
Yeah, he was skinny too. I tell you what, that's a lot of hits later, almost closing in on 3,000 hits later. been an unbelievable career for Pudge Rodriguez. He was a great teammate, too, when I played with him in Detroit.
Beckham takes a strike on the outside edge, and Pudge was musing before the game. He said, boy, I will always remember it was this clubhouse, the visitors clubhouse. This ballpark had just opened. This was my exact locker. I'm back at the exact locker now where I was 20 years ago. And he looked over and realized that's Alex Rios right next to me. That's the guy I caught stealing first.
Yeah, which is pretty unbelievable, pretty amazing, you know, that all came together again. But you always remember where your first hit was, and you know, it's just been awesome to see that. 14-time All-Star, 13 Gold Gloves. You remember the 2000 World Series championship he was on. He has an MVP award, and this guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer. My book.
Beckham takes a swat at it on 0-2. Wasn't your first big league hit somewhere in this general vicinity as well?
Yeah, my first big league hit was here too. September 1997. You know, towards the end, I was sitting at the end of the bench with Richie Sexton had just gotten called up from Buffalo, and I got here it is. Hey, a little flashback. There I am.
Little magic career. Look at you. Speaking of skinny guys.
Boy, I was, man. Look at that. I was so nervous. Look at my dad up there. Got a 1-2 slider from Jeff Darwin and snuck it through the hole right there, Josh. Then I scored for first on a Matt Williams hit. I was so excited right there. I thought to myself, listen, if I get one hit, at least I made the big leagues. Give me that ball. That ball's in my house right now.
Do you know where it is?
Oh, yeah, it's on my mantle.
Very cool. Lillibridge fouls it.
You know, any guy you ask that's in the big leagues, you say, hey, where was your first, big league hit? Where was it? Who'd you face? What was the count? You remember it like it was yesterday, because it's a moment that you realize your dreams being fulfilled of finally making the big leagues is something you've dreamed about since you were 10, 12 years old. And everyone remembers where they were on that first hit. That was a really good Cleveland Indians team I was on, too.
Well, you pinch hit for Dave Justice, for God's sake.
Like, you're going to pinch hit for Dave Justice. My equipment didn't come. I used Manny Ramirez's bat. I used Tony Fernandez's helmet and Jeff Manto's batting gloves to go out there and get that hit. It was unbelievable. And then I tried to keep the bat, but Manny Ramirez somehow taped it up and used it, so I don't have the bat that I used because Manny, stole it from me. But, yeah, it was what an unbelievable moment. My parents were in the stands and some buddies in the stands. It was awesome.
1 ball, 2 strikes now. Gorzelani, the Chicago native out there on the mound, has never beaten the White Sox. He's had a couple opportunities to do it. But that's the team that he definitely grew up rooting for. Was not a Cub fan at all. White Sox guy all the way. And knowing how the ball jumps sometimes at this ballpark, we should point out about Gorzelani coming in today, Sean. 57 innings. He'd allowed 12 home runs. Worst ratio in the entire National League for starting pitchers. But today, all he's allowed is a handful of singles.
Well, he's done a good job of keeping the ball down and if it's been up, it's been on the corners, hasn't really been out over the plate. So that's the big thing with Gorzelani. When he gets it up, he's let up a few home runs that way.
That ball's in the air, but certainly not going to get out. The only run that is scored early. It is still 1-0 Chicago. This is correct. Jake Peavy is coming on in relief. That's out of necessity. John Danks had to leave with what we're told is a strained right oblique. That was back in the second inning. They got some real nice work out of Brian Bruni. And now Jake Peavy, one-time Cy Young winner in the National League. He's going to have to face Jerry Hairston Jr., a couple of former Padres going at it here in a 1-0 game in Chicago.
Talking to Peavy before the game, he was prepared last night. Head down to the bullpen, get ready. They might have needed him last night, too.
Yeah, if there was a 15th or 16th inning, we might have seen his first relief appearance in the big leagues yesterday. Boy, everything he throws, when he is healthy, it moves. It's nasty.
You know what? The thing about Jake Peavy, when you watch him pitch and when he's at his best, like you said, Josh, it moves late. It moves late in the zone. Sinker, slider, curveball, changeup. It's all above average pitches that have that late movement.
Hairston sails one down that left field line and foul ground. In and out of the crowd. Now, the White Sox do have the luxury, I guess you can call it, Sean. They're probably the team best equipped in baseball to handle what's happened today with the injury to Danks. They have 6 guys essentially now in their rotation.
See, that's huge. I mean, look at that right there. You got a 6-man rotation of guys that are all legit big league pitchers, and you have a situation like last night where you had to burn a bunch of guys and you got Danks get hurt today. You're right. If there was any team this could happen to that could withstand it, it's the White Sox.
And just to go back to Bruni, the job that he did. Remember, he came on yesterday, allowed that home run to Michael Morse. Had to face Morse again last inning and got him. Wasn't easy, but he got him. Hairston down on strikes.
Peavy just reached back right there. He said, here's 94. Hit it if you can, Jerry.
How difficult is it, Sean? You've game planned for John Danks. John Danks is a lefty that does things a lot differently than Jake Peavy.
Right.
All of a sudden, here's Jake Peavy. And if you're Jerry Hairston Jr., you're like, wait a minute. I didn't watch any tape on this.
You just adjust your mentality. You know, you thought you were going to face a lefty. Now you got a righty in there in the 5th inning, and it's Jake Peavy. You had Bruni before. You just adjust your mentality to still hunt the fastball and get something out over the plate. It doesn't change that much. Your mentality is still the same.
Are you running in? Are you doing recon? You're telling the video guy, hey, quick, let me see Jake Peavy's last start. Do you have it?
Yeah, there might be certain guys that want to see the video and see, hey, let me see his last start. What kind of movement does he have? What's he throwing first pitch? That's what I always like to see. What's a guy throwing first pitch? Is he starting out with that first pitch fastball?
Well, again, when healthy, Peavy is a bona fide ace. He has been a National League strikeout champion, an ERA champion. Dealt here in 2009. Talked about Pudge Rodriguez with eyes towards getting to 3,000 hits. And Derek Jeter is a lot closer right now, famously. And it's going to be one of those things, Sean. I mean, Pudge, as you said, has been catching for a long time. He's grinding down towards the end. There is the end of that at bat. Might not get enough at bats to get to 3,000.
Yeah, I think if he gets a chance to play a few more years, he'll get a chance to hopefully get to that 3,000. You see Peavy right here with a slider that just really just ends up leaving Pudge. That's a tough pitch right there. Backs up on him. Nasty pitch, but yeah, you look at that stat. You got Vizquel in the other dugout, who probably won't get to 3,000 because he won't get enough at bats, and you got Pudge over here that's kind of in the same boat. Is he going to get enough years to get to that 3,000 mark? I think he will, but what impressive numbers! Anytime you're talking about 3,000 hits like we are with Jeter, it's impressive.
A guy like Omar Vizquel, who's been around to where he can play until age 44.
And still pick it too. I mean, what was so impressive when I was with him in Cleveland when I was obviously pretty young and he was doing it. You talk about that bare hand play he makes so routinely. He works on that in BP. He must take 20, 30 balls bare hand, throw him to first, throw him to second. He's one of the best shortstops to ever play the game.
Hall of Famer in your mind,
No,
Mark?
In my mind, no doubt about it. For the way he played defense, I mean, he was the best in the game. Whenever he was out on that field, he was the best shortstop in baseball. And you're talking about he's only less than 200 hits away from getting to 3,000. So for me, he's a Hall of Famer.
23rd big league season for Omar Vizquel. Bixler with a foul.
You go back and look at those teams in Cleveland when I first came up was, Roberto Alomar at second, Vizquel at short, Jim Thome at first, Fryman at third. Those guys were mainstays. But Vizquel was the most popular player on that team with those fans in Cleveland.
Bixler chops it off the plate and foul. The White Sox, by the way, collectively working on a one-hitter, using 3 pitchers to get that done. Well, we talked about the famous slick fielding shortstops. You got your Ozzie, you got your Omar, and both linked in with these Chicago White Sox now.
Ozzie Guillen was another. Talk about fan favorites. Ozzie Guillen was another fan favorite here in Chicago.
There, of course, is the original sweet fielding Venezuelan. Peavy just missing.
Who Aparicio let Vizquel wear 11, I believe.
That's right.
Let him wear 11.
Take a look at that last pitch.
Tried to backdoor it there on the sinker.
And missed again. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Bixler. Berardino's on deck. He's got the only hit for Washington. The Nationals had 19 hits yesterday. Now the 8th pitch of that at bat, Peavy wins out. White Sox 1, Nationals nothing here on Fox. Game break. We have some Gold Cup semifinal action for you. USA, Panama from Wednesday. Across from a Freddie Adu. Landon Donovan sets up the Dempsey goal. USA 1, Panama nothing. Advancing for the 4th straight time to the Gold Cup final. They'll face Mexico tonight on Fox Soccer. Get every MLB game, by the way, and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Underway, bottom 5. And Brett Morel, who has 2 of the 5 Chicago hits, leads it off against Tom Gorzelani. Now, Gorzelani, we mentioned earlier, Sean Case, he's been giving up a bunch of home runs this year. He has allowed 8 fly balls in this game, but they've all been out.
They've all been those high fly balls. Quentin hit a couple of them, but he's kept them in the park. That's the bottom line is, they're not fly balls that are carrying out of the park. They're balls that he's making good enough pitches where guys are popping them up.
Not a single ground out as we play here in the 5th inning. Only run of the game scoring in the bottom of the 1st. Carlos Quentin, a sac fly after Lillibridge and Morel had singled. John Danks had to leave the game in the 2nd inning for Chicago. Now being told it's a strained right oblique.
Hopefully that's not a long time for Danks to be out, because that's a big blow to Ozzie and this crew if Danks is gone. I mean, he's really turned out to be one of their best pitchers in June, and to lose Danks for a long time is going to hurt this club.
Poke towards center, dropping in there. A 3rd hit of the afternoon for Brett Morel. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Sprint. All together now. Well, Brett Morel had come in 6 of his last 39, Mr. Casey. He is 3 for 3 today.
That's how you get your average up right there. And all of his hits have been to right field. That one was to right center, got it off the end of the bat, bloops it in there. But he's had 2 nice hits before that to right field. That's how you get your swing going. You start using the opposite field, and it really opens up the pull side for you.
Quentin, who just missed a couple of times earlier today, is going to just miss a 3rd time. Taking big cuts, but he is 0 for 3.
Just missing. Just missed 3 big balls.
Brings up Paul Konerko. Here's your game summary. Again, Danks out of the game, just 26 pitches in, and you're right, he really was starting to turn a corner. Quentin sac fly is all the scoring, and Gorzelani now at 4 1/3 innings, scattering those singles around. And the White Sox today, by the way, 1 of 11 with men on base, 0 for their last 10.
And that's Gorzelani's 9th fly ball out in this park. That's tough to do.
Did you guys as hitters get the sense, I mean, even in BP, that, yeah, this is a place where you can lunge?
Yeah, when you came here to Chicago, play the White Sox, you felt like you could really, if you got a ball in the air and you drove it a little bit, it was going to go out of here. Guys love hitting in this place.
And Paul Konerko certainly has been hitting the long balls here for a while, having a wonderful season, 21 homers, 59 runs batted in. He had homers in 5 straight games at one point this month. Total it all up, he is 2nd all-time behind Frank Thomas on a bunch of cool lists here in Chicago. Those are some really consistent numbers.
They should have traded me in Cincinnati. Those numbers. Look at that. That's awesome. What a great career Paul Konerko's had. And what a great guy. You know, I had a great conversation with Paul today about, hey, what is your approach? After all these years, what's your approach? He said, listen, I try to pick one side of the plate and not try to cover the whole plate and think I can cover inside and outside. I try to cover middle in. If I get a pitch there, I drive it. If I want something middle way, the pitcher's giving that to me, I'm going to focus out there. And I think that's why he has that game plan and he follows through with it. And that's why he's been so consistent over the years.
That one dive bombing in on him. It's 2-2.
Gorzelani has pitched Paulie tough all day today. Right here you see a little slider gets in on Paul's hands, and that's what he's been doing. He's had a couple of those nasty sliders to Konerko down and in the inner half of the plate that Paul swung over. Fastball back in.
Not yet. Used to be Konerko was kind of a sitting duck in this kind of situation for a double play ground out. I think that's one improvement he's made over the years. You don't see him wrap into nearly as many double plays anymore.
Yeah, no, I think Paulie's obviously not the fastest runner out there, but he's gotten better. But I think he's just a better hitter overall.
Another fly ball out, it would appear. That's 10 of them. Well, you know, the thing about Konerko, just before we leave him alone, hitting coach Greg Walker was saying that last year when Konerko was in just the deepest, darkest slump he had had in a long time, that he was still taking the younger players to lunch. He was still hanging out for an hour after the game, talking baseball with the veterans. He was literally the same guy.
Well, I think that's what, when you're a veteran, you've been there, done that. He knows he can go through a slump. He's going to be okay. He's going to come out of it. He's going to hit at some point. I think that's the same mentality Adam Dunn's got to keep taking. At some point here, he's going to come out of it. He's going to hit because his track record speaks for itself. And that's Paulie Konerko understood that last year when he was in that slump. You know, came right out of it. There's too many ups and downs in this game, Josh, to not feel that way. Too many highs and lows emotionally to not try and stay even keel.
Well, Dunn is hoping he's at low ebb, that it doesn't get much worse. But he struck out twice already today. It's now at, what, 175 instead of 179.
Yeah, well, it can't get much lower for Adam Dunn, and I think he knows that. And sky's the limit here soon.
Up and outside to Ramirez. I'll give you a good little disagreement to have at the local sports bar here. Who's the most productive shortstop in this town? You want Ramirez or Starlin Castro?
Wow, Starlin Castro's an impressive player, isn't he? The way he swings the bat. I mean, the ball jumps off his bat.
A little different player in many ways than Ramirez.
I'd say Castro. Ramirez is a good-looking player, though, too.
Now, Ramirez has very quietly become one of the best all-around shortstops in this league. You look at his numbers last year, a .282 batting average, 18 homers, 70 runs batted in. There were a lot of people who felt he, not Derek Jeter, should have won that Gold Glove last year. So all due respect to your vote, I'm taking Ramirez. So.
Okay, you got it, brother. I'll take Castro, you take Ramirez.
Hey, either way, you got a good player, right?
Either way, you're looking good.
That ball blooped. Michael Morse looking for it. Couldn't quite get there. He needed to be, what's it say on his T-shirt? Beast mode. He's been wearing that beast mode T-shirt for 5 weeks straight.
Yeah, he needed beast mode right there to get that ball just out of reach. I mean, if it's out of Michael Morse's reach with those big, long arms, you know it's out of reach.
Need to just run over that cameraman, go into beast mode full on. Three and two out. In play towards third, and there's Hairston. So the Nationals, who have won 12 out of 13, need to engage the bats. And you'll have that shot when we return. Today's game presented by Sprint is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball across the country. Great city, nice afternoon, a little overcast, but hey, Tom Gorzelani's not complaining. He's pitching well. Not leading, though. 1-0 White Sox. Now the Nationals try to get something going for them. They didn't get anything on the scoreboard yesterday, Sean, until the 8th inning. They ended up winning 9-5.
Well, they decided to keep that same trend going today. See, they can wait as late as they can to get some runs.
If you're just tuning in and you're a White Sox fan, you're thinking, wait a minute, Peavy? Why is Peavy out there as he faces Berardina? John Danks pulling a muscle in the 2nd inning and had to leave. Brian Bruni came on and pitched very well after he gave up a home run last night to Michael Morse. Was brought back today, 2 1/3 really, really strong innings. And now here's Jake Peavy. We'll see how long he can go. There's no action in the Chicago pen. Boy, and he just fired that one by Berardina.
You know, whenever you face Peavy and you talk to guys that have played with Peavy, and you know this guy is a legit bulldog. He wants the ball. Whatever you need to go. You need me to go to the pen and give you a couple of innings. I'll do it for you. Need me to start? I'll do it for you. This guy can flat out pitch, and he's got that mentality.
Berardina is robbed. Nice play. The range being shown by Beckham, and you know, as disappointing as it's been offensively, defensively Beckham's been just fine. What is the greatest moments in the 77-year history of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game? You decide. Join the Midsummer Classics debate. Go to MLB.com/moments. Fill out your bracket. Tune in to Fox Saturday Baseball each week leading up to the All-Star Game to see which moments advance to the next round. Ted Williams, Briggs Stadium in Detroit. 1941 All-Star Game. You saw one of the finalists. Worth with a tapper to third. The Danks, Bruni, Peavy combination keeping the Nationals bats very quiet.
Well, today's the day. They need these guys to really step up and give them innings, give them quality innings, and hopefully do it without throwing a ton of pitches where they can keep going. Bruni gave them over 2 innings of work, and Peavy stepped right in and picked it up right where Bruni left off.
Now the shortstop, Ian Desmond. Ten homers, 17 steals as a rookie last year, and everyone seems to think there's a lot more still to come as this guy gets older.
Folks in the Nationals organization, they love Ian Desmond.
That's a reason why. That is one of the toughest righties going. Jake Peavy, and Desmond just socks it into center field.
They'd like to see more of that. I mean, Desmond's struggled pretty much all year long at the plate. But, you know, if he can get a couple games under his belt where he gets a few hits and kind of gets that confidence rolling, gets things going, they really need him to. It'd be nice to see him get his bat hot in that lineup.
Zimmerman has struck out against 2 different pitchers today, Danks and Bruni. First time he's facing Peavy.
It's like he might have crossed up Castro right there. They're going to talk about it. Looks like he was looking for something off speed. Peavy ended up throwing that hard sinker at him.
No harm, no foul, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you look at Zim today, and you know this is the one thing when you come to play interleague play. This is a chance where McLaren puts you in there and says, "Hey, listen, you're going to DH today." The mentality is so different as a DH. When you're playing every day and you're out there on defense, you take your mind off the game. When you're the DH and you punch out a couple times, sometimes
ball gets away from Dunn, and then just kind of sits there. Desmond, wide turn at second, had thoughts about going to third. And Morel has to range over. That was sloppy all the way around. Not much of a chance for Dunn.
No, not much of a chance. Up, down in the inside the runner. Dunner really couldn't get to that ball, and just turns out to be a miscue right there. Peavy trying to get that quick pick over, come set, fire over as quick as he can. Dunner almost ends up throwing that away at third too.
Well, the Nationals get a runner into scoring position now with 2 out. A little flare somewhere from Zimmerman. This thing's 1-1. Only second National to reach second base today. There's Desmond right here. Now you got Michael Morse on deck, and he's just been a terror for the last 5 weeks.
Michael Morse has been so impressive. What he's done coming into today in his last 32 games, 344 with 12 homers, 34 runs batted in. It's been impressive.
And we'll see if he gets an opportunity to do his thing. And Zimmerman just keeps working that count. You know, it's funny, twice now in big league history, Sean, a manager has quit on a team that was in the throes of a long win streak. Both times Michael Morse has played for John McLaren when that's happened. It happened in Seattle when Mike Hargrove walked away. The Chicago native Mike Rizzo has had a lot to deal with these last 48 hours or so. Not quite the Chicago homecoming he had envisioned. But what Jim Riggleman is saying, I'm not going to be here. Mike Rizzo had to then go, okay, I got a plan B. It's going to be McLaren for now. Looks like Davey Johnson next. Could be as early as tomorrow. Zimmerman has struck out against 3 different pitchers in 6 innings of time. 1-0 Chicago. Washington Nationals were dead last in the NL East. They have played so much better, winning 12 out of 13. They've gotten to 39 and 37, but that's only gotten them 3 games back on Philadelphia. Still a lot to do. And that includes today, as they are down 1-0. Jake Peavy is now pitching and not John Danks because of an injury earlier today. Adam Dunn at the plate trying to get the White Sox extending a 1-0 lead. And boy, Adam Dunn could use a hit. He is now 14 for 106 in his new home ballpark.
That's the understatement of the year.
And it's tough, obviously. I mean, he doesn't enjoy hearing the booing and all that. Ozzie Guillen, in typical Ozzie fashion, said, hey, you don't want to get booed? Play better.
Right. That's true. And Adam Dunn knows that, too. I mean, he doesn't want to be hitting 170 right now as much as these fans don't. Obviously, fans know how much he's getting paid, but listen, he'll get it going here at some point.
It will not be now. And they're still letting him have it. Dunn has said, this is by far the most frustrating thing I've ever had happen to me. And Sean, let's face it, this city has had free agent signings that didn't work out real well. Milton Bradley. Bulls fans will point to Ben Wallace. Dunn does not want to wind up pledging that fraternity.
No. I think at the end of the day, he won't.
Rios, shallow center, base hit. That's a 2-for-3 day for Alex Rios. Ramon Castro coming up. Hey, folks, like Fox Sports on Facebook. You could win sports gear. Enter today at facebook.com/Fox Sports. You'll find exclusive news, video, and all kinds of cool stuff. Log on today to facebook.com/Fox Sports. Go ahead and like us. Do you Facebook?
I was going to say, do you have your own Facebook account?
Well, I'm asking you because I bet you have about like 50,000 friends.
No, I don't have a Facebook account.
That's probably why.
I have trouble enough emailing, but I think Facebook accounts are good.
Hey, by the way, there's action in that Washington bullpen. We'll get you that in just a moment. And there's Steve McCatty on his way out to talk to Gorzelani, who's up around 100 pitches for the day. Remember, it was a long night last night for all concerned. Ryan Matthews is the man in the bullpen. We'll see if Gorzelani's got a finishing kick to him here in the 6th inning.
I think McCatty's just coming out there to give him a little blow, give him a break, say, okay, just take a second here, take a deep breath. Keep doing what you've been doing. Keep the ball in the ballpark, keep the ball down, maybe get a ground ball here, first ground ball, turn 2.
Well-respected pitching coach, Steve McCatty. Well, you got a catcher running. That's a double play candidate. He's got to get a ground ball eventually, right?
I mean, Gorzelani has to feel like at some point someone's going to hit one on the ground today.
Oh, he does have one. That's right. Ramirez to end the 5th inning.
Well, he's looking for his second.
There you go.
How about his second ground ball? We're in the 6th inning.
The Sox today hitless in their last 12 with men on base. Runner goes. Gets away from Pudge Rodriguez. So Rios is in the scoring position.
Rios gets a huge jump. Obviously going on first, moving on Gorzelani. But you watch, as soon as Gorzelani picks up that leg, he's gone.
Now, Rios had 34 steals a year ago, Sean. That's only his 5th here in 2011.
Wow. I mean, even if Pudge catches that ball cleanly, he's not throwing out Rios right there. He had a huge break on that ball.
Off speed outside. And again, hitless in their last 12 with runners on base. The only hit, that was Morel on the 3rd pitch of the game after Lillibridge was on. Do we count that as a grounder? No, it's foul.
No. If it stayed fair, we would. Swing and bunt.
The big swing, but you've seen Caddyshack. Ooh, that's a peach, hon.
Grown man hit that ball.
I just actually said to a ball player, have you seen Caddyshack?
I know. What are you, nuts? That's all we play on the flights.
What's your all-timer, though? Can't Buy Me Love, the Patrick Dempsey
one? It's a classic. Can't Buy Me Love, Revenge of the Nerds. Those are all classics.
Not so much like Citizen Kane would be a classic.
Yeah,
but
right. Not in that same category.
2-2 the count to Castro with Beckham on deck. Well, the Sox have hits in every inning so far, but all of them have been singles. Matthews ready to go in the bullpen, but assuredly they'd love to get 6 full innings here out of Gorzelani. He's got that big pass list working today, hometown guy. Very concerned with Rios off a second. Or are they more concerned that he's peeking, trying to get signs?
Well, you saw him taking a while to deliver the punch, so maybe they switched up the signs.
Wild swing and a miss. So the inning left up to Beckham.
Big strikeout right here for Gorzelani. He kind of rears back, fires, hoping Castro chases, and he does. That's what Gorzelani's been doing all day. Anytime there's been some sort of trouble, he's been able to pitch at it and make a pitch, strike a guy out, get a guy to fly out. So that's been kind of Gorzelani's day all day today. See if he can do it one more time here.
Beckham starving for a hit, 4 for his last 30. Asked you if you Facebooked. Beckham tweets, okay, and from his Twitter account at the beginning of May, this is what he wrote. He said, I believe it was Harvey Two-Face Dent from The Dark Knight who said the night is always darkest before the dawn. He said, well, dawn is close. He's promising White Sox fans it's coming. However, it is still dark.
I was going to say the
not quite yet. Yeah. White Sox just can't get the big hit today. They lead 1-0. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. Presented by Sprint. Josh Lewin, Sean Casey, happy to be with you today here in Chicago, where the White Sox scored early, and then that's it, 1-0. As the Nationals bat in the top of the 7th, Jake Peavy on because John Danks got hurt in the 2nd inning. A strained oblique, and no further update on that. Brian Bruni kind of held down the fort for a couple of innings, and then Peavy pitching the 5th, the 6th, and now it looks like through the 7th because there's nobody up in the bullpen.
Peavy's done a great job so far stepping in his first relief appearance in the big leagues ever. but he's really given them some solid innings so far.
It's a good test here. Michael Morse, the hottest hitter going out of Washington. Well, he took over for the injured Adam LaRoche about 5 weeks ago.
Ever since he's taken over that first base position back on May 20th, he said 32 games, 344, 12 homers, 34 RBIs. Really impressive.
You know, he started out, as we mentioned, in this Sox organization, was flipped to Seattle. He was drafted as a shortstop, but was told eventually he was going to be too big to play there. He had a chance meeting at a restaurant a few years later, runs into A-Rod in Miami, chats him up, says, hey, I'm a minor league shortstop, Mr. Rodriguez. They want to move me off a short. Alex Rodriguez said, don't ever let him do that to you. You stay where you, well, now he's doing fine somewhere else.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex, but Morse disposed of.
You know, we were talking earlier about Peavy. Why is he so good? Why, you know, was Cy Young, former Cy Young Award winner, still has that great stuff. You see that fastball at 94 with late sink on it, two-seam action on it. But that slider's been late. Changeup's been great. Everything in the zone for Peavy has been late. And these Washington national hitters are having a tough time getting a beat on it.
Danny Espinosa.
Talk about up the middle. You win up the middle. The future looks pretty bright up the middle for the Nationals when you talk about Ian Desmond and Espinosa at shortstop and second base. But they really like this kid Espinosa. He's got 13 home runs, 45 runs driven in. This kid can play.
Boy, and then Bryce Harper, when he gets up, catching,
wow,
put Strasburg back on the mound. Just
impressive.
Big rip, couldn't get it. Let's get you to a DirecTV game break. This is kind of big. The Cleveland Indians need Shin-Soo Choo in their lineup, you would think, but he's going to be out for a little while. Already placed on the 15-day DL. That pitch from Jonathan Sanchez broke his left thumb. Get every Major League Baseball game and the most in HD. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Well, the Indians, who have been a surprise story in the AL Central. See how long they're going to have to be without Shin-Soo Choo.
You know, had some injuries already. They were getting out the gates fast. Hafner gets hurt, goes on the DL. Now Choo's hurt. Sizemor's been back on it. So they've had some big guns. Some of their big bats in that lineup have taken trips to the DL. They need Shin-Soo Choo to get back fast and start swinging the bat the way he knows how to.
Would you agree, Sean, it is a wide open AL Central right now? Even Minnesota, with all their injuries,
yep,
they've found a way to win again.
They're still in it. Yeah, the Central's always wide open. Those teams in the Central always seem to beat each other up. You know, it just seems no one ever runs away with the Central. You got Cleveland up there. Detroit's right there in the mix. They've kind of flip-flopped in the last 2 weeks. Chicago's making a run to get back to the top. And then you were talking about before, Josh, here comes Minnesota. When you least expect it, they're letting them hang around too.
Boy, in that division, Kansas City is going to be a player eventually too. Not this year, but they're getting close.
You want to talk about some young studs over in Kansas City. You know, you got Hosmer, Moustakas, Montgomery, Duffy. I mean, they got some guys that are coming that are going to be special, just like Mike Rizzo's doing there in Washington with these young players. We talked about Espinosa and Desmond and Strasburg and Harper.
Fouled by Hairston.
And Storen. Don't forget about Drew Storen, who just happens to be in that same Strasburg draft, and he's closing.
Well, the White Sox, they're the team spending all the money. The Royals in that division, they're the team with all the prospects. But right now it's Cleveland on top and Detroit right behind. Broken bat, fly ball towards center. Jake Peavy still getting it done. We are at the stretch on the south side. 1-0 Sox. Today's game presented by Sprint is sponsored by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. And by Burger King, now offering $1 frozen drinks. It's clouded up here in Chicago a little bit, where the fans are still digging it. Tom Gorzelani, native South Sider himself, pitching well in front of this crowd. They all looked up here to the booth. Where's Hawk? Where's Stoney?
They're looking for Hawk. I dove underneath the table. Said, I'm not Hawk, and he's not Stoney.
Just Lewin and Casey, that's it. Lillibridge fouls one against Gorzelani. Of course, on the south side is where the take me out to the ball game, seventh inning stretch tradition really began in earnest. Harry Carey, before he brought that to the north side, he was doing it here for the White Sox.
I'll tell you what, though, it is fun listening to Hawk Harrelson, isn't it? When he gives,
you can put it on the board.
Yes. Nice slider right here by Gorzelani.
That's been the pitch for him today.
I was going to say, he's been doing that all day long to those righties, really back, throwing it at their back foot, and he's getting a lot of swing and misses on it.
Yes, he is. They've had Ryan Matthews working in the bullpen, but they haven't made a move to get him yet.
Well, if Gorzelani's still going to keep making quality pitches like this, another slider down that Lillibridge just can't pick up.
On simmer for now is Matthews. Gorzelani, a 38th round pick by the White Sox originally, and did not sign. That ball lined to short. There is a 38th round pick that they did sign that's worked out really well for them. That's Mark Buehrle.
Yeah.
If this would have been Gorzelani against Buehrle today, then I guarantee you it would have been the first time it's two 38th round draft picks of the Chicago White Sox going head to head.
That's pretty impressive. That's called hitting home runs with 38th round picks. I mean, two guys that have been established big leaguers, and especially Buehrle's probably been one of the best White Sox pitchers of all time.
Well, the one-time 38th rounder of note today is Gorzelani, even though he's trailing 1-0. Here's the guy that's got the only RBI, that's Quentin. And I guess Gorzelani, Sean's been playing with some fire regarding Quentin today. 3 deep fly balls to left. They've all stayed in the yard so far.
Yep. You know, a big thing for Gorzelani today, we talked about that slider he's really been throwing, but he's just stayed out of the heart of the plate. Balls that have been up haven't been necessarily out over the plate, and he's really done a great job. There's one of the fly balls right here. The left field, there's the sac fly, the only run in the ball game so far.
Those are just for men, keep your edge spotlight. All right, left field's not working. Right field, it almost worked. That's simply a foul ball.
Morse making run. Worth. Just a long sprint right there. Getting your sprints in, Mike.
Well, Carlos Quentin, you saw him in that Just for Men spotlight. Just as Quentin gives the Sox the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. A tapper, only the second ground ball out for Gorzelani, who has become one of the big storylines today. A 9-pitch inning, but it's still the White Sox won, and the Nationals nothing. grew up a White Sox fan, Orland Park area, then Marist High School here in Chicago, on to Triton Junior College, where the one dog, Lance Johnson, went back in the day. He's pitched so well, but the White Sox have used Danks, Bruni, and because of the injury to Danks, Jake Peavy, to keep it 1-0 Chicago.
Gorzelani's been just what the doctor ordered for the Washington Nationals after going 14 innings last night, using all those pitchers. Gorzelani's really stepped up today, giving them 7 innings, 7 strong innings, and really saved that bullpen.
.112 pitches for Gorzelani today, as Pudge Rodriguez peels one into the crowd. As we said earlier, this is the city in which it all began for Ivan Rodriguez, called up from Double-A in 1991 for the Rangers. We're getting clobbered today by the Mets. All those years with the Rangers, it was a stunning move that he made to go to the Marlins and the Tigers. Down on strikes here, Lance Nix, another former Ranger guy, coming up to pinch hit.
Man, Peavy has been absolutely nasty these last few innings. I mean, his ball is moving and moving late, and it's got that late life on it.
There is action in the Chicago pen behind him now. Looks like Will Oman. And boy, Lance Nix has been getting some big hits. This is a ballpark, and we talked about Pudge Rodriguez debuting here. Lance Nix was supposed to play in the Futures game, that All-Star Futures game in 2003. And a week before that, he got called up to the big leagues. So he was really looking forward to being here. But if I make my big league debut instead.
I think he was looking forward to being in the big leagues more than he was in the Futures game, you know?
He says he still has his Futures jersey, though.
Does he?
Never worn it, but he's got it. Takes a mighty cut. And to left field it goes. The lights are on now here. I mentioned it started getting overcast probably around the second or third inning. So Nix having pinch hit for Bixler, flies out. Roger Bernardina coming up. Of course, we talk about Lance Nix. His little brother Jason took a turn with these White Sox as a second baseman. Lance Nix was built like a football player. He was for the Midland High School Bulldogs. If you ever watch the Friday Night Lights and all that, that's Permian's big high school rival.
He still looks like a football player, Lance Nix.
He played against Cedric Benson in high school. Of course, famously came through here as a Chicago Bear. And Lance Nix, you wouldn't know what to look at him. He was a quarterback.
Oh, was he really?
He was an
he looks
option.
like the inside linebacker.
Yeah, he does. Option quarterback he was. Yeah, don't make him mad.
Oh, yeah. Especially you, Josh. He might get you.
Yeah, squash me like a bug. Peavy trying to drop it on the outside edge. Couldn't do it. 2-1. You know, of all things, Peavy could get a save today.
First relief appearance, get a save. That'd be awesome.
Bruni is the pitcher of record, I believe. But Jake Peavy, not that you're surprised by this, but he has got it going on.
I mean, he really does. All his pitches are above average today. His changeup's been nasty. His slider's been nasty. I mean, you see right here, this ball is a changeup. It absolutely almost acts like a split finger with that late action to Bernardino. Got him.
He got him. That's it. Top of the 8th is over. It's still 1-0. Michelin, a better way forward, and by Viagra. One of the great cities going, Chicago, Illinois. And Lance Nix will take over in left field. Bixler was pinch hit for. Got a new guy to tell you about on the mound, too. Henry Rodriguez will come on for Tom Gorzelani, who gave the Nationals 7 innings on a day somebody needed to step up and pitch for a long time. The two teams played for 14 innings yesterday.
Gorzelani really stepped up for them today when they really needed him. And this is also another guy, Mike Rizzo and the Nationals are really high on. I mean, look at Rodriguez's stuff. You saw 99 right there. He's got upper 90s fastball, can hit 101. Good changeup, breaking ball. He's got great stuff. And this is a big reason. This bullpen's a big reason they've been so successful this season.
Konerko sails this one foul.
100 miles an hour right there, too.
Rodriguez pitched for just 2/3 of an inning yesterday, so coming back and pitching again is not that big a deal for him. Not likely that if the Nationals take a lead that Storen would be asked to close today. Matt Thornton looks like he's unavailable for Chicago. He's thrown 50 pitches in the last 2 days. One-two is down too low to Paul Konerko. We heard from the esteemed scorer here, Rosie Rosenberg. He's the guy that gets to decide who gets the win if it's Chicago's win today. Because Danks only went 1 2/3. He's leaning towards Jake Peavy to get the win instead of Bruni.
Well, I mean, Jake Peavy's earned it with the amount of innings he's thrown and how he's just had lights out stuff today. He's earned it.
Konerko lacing one to left. I would like to welcome those of you who have watched the Giants get past the Indians 1-0 on Fox today. Josh Lewin, Sean Casey, who, by the way, is making his Fox debut today.
Oh, it's been great, man.
Good job, Rook. John Danks had to leave this game after only 26 pitches. A strained oblique is what we've been told. A Carlos Quentin sac fly making it 1-0 in the first. Tom Gorzelani, native Chicagoan, pitching very well for Washington, is now out of the game after 7. And Paul Konerko leaves as a pinch runner. Omar Vizquel comes on instead. And we welcome Cleveland and San Francisco. And who else are we going to show you? Because he's played for both those teams.
Omar Vizquel.
Yeah.
Nothing like a 44-year-old pinch runner for you, is that?
Alexei Ramirez, the batter. 1-0 lead for the White Sox. We're playing in the bottom of the 8th. And, of course, the big story around these Washington Nationals. Not the dismissal of Jim Riggleman, the leaving of Jim Riggleman. We talked about it earlier that 2 out of 5 managers in the NL East have resigned this past week. Jack McKeon has already been anointed down in Florida. Davey Johnson next up for the Washington Nationals. Not done yet. And it's bizarre, but by a full 12 years, the youngest managerial hire this year, or this week, has been the 68-year-old Davey Johnson.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Jack McKeon still getting it done at 80 years old. And then Davey Johnson's back at 68.
Not officially yet.
Not officially, but we think we're almost positive he's coming.
Well, Ramirez up over top. You were talking about the fastball from Rodriguez, and he runs it up there at 99, but he's got some other stuff too.
You know, he's got a great curveball, you know, and especially when you're talking about that mile-per-hour differential, when you see that curveball up, it looks like a fastball, and you're seeing those kind of swings from Ramirez where he's out front. I mean, that's almost not fair when you got a guy throwing 100, and then he drops 83-mile-an-hour, 12-6 curveball on you. It's a tough pitch to recognize.
Infield, a double play depth. Boy, and Ramirez just having a tough time with that pitch. Adam Dunn will come up next, speaking of a guy having a tough time. Davey Johnson, we hear by tonight or maybe by tomorrow morning, will be officially named to basically come back to that Baltimore-Washington area. The Orioles had him. Mike Rizzo is ready to talk to Alan Nero, the agent. The agent, however, is in Japan, so it's tough to negotiate what needs to be negotiated, but they'll get it done. And here is Adam Dunn. What a nightmare first season as a White Sox player. Ball skipping away from Pudge Rodriguez. We got a 40-year-old catcher chasing it, a 44-year-old pinch runner scampering down to second base.
Guys that have stayed in great shape. Watch this fastball. This is 101 miles an hour. Look at that. That ball had nasty sink on a nasty tail, two-seam action. Pudge just really had no chance of catching that ball.
Well, and for Adam Dunn, it just gets worse and worse. 3 strikeouts today. It's up to 96 for the year. We're only 4 days into summer.
Yeah, he's had a rough go so far in this first half. One he'd like to forget, but he's just been struggling. He's just, flat out been struggling. And hasn't had a great go here in Chicago so far.
Hulking left-handed hitter taking down and outside. And Sean, he's having to face his buddies in that Washington dugout with these stats next to his name. That's got to be mortifying for Adam Dunn.
Well, it's frustrating too. He loved Washington. He kind of think he wanted to stay there, but Mike Rizzo was moving in a different direction. Went and got Jason Worth, and Dunner wants nothing more than to do well against these guys, and hasn't really done that so far today.
It's like you go back to your high school reunion. Do you want to hear, "Hey man, how you doing? You look great."
Yeah.
Or, "Ooh, hey Adam, how you doing, buddy? You hanging in there?" Rios next.
How about that pitch right there? That was a 91-mile-an-hour changeup.
That was 101 miles an hour down and in. Dunn does still walk quite a bit. We talk about the strikeouts, but he leads the White Sox in walks by 10.
Yeah. Well, he always has a lot of walks, always has a lot of strikeouts, and always has a lot of homers. Jim Thome-esque.
Taking strike 2. And now wearing the count.
That's a pitch right. That's a pitcher's pitch. You don't want to swing at that. 3-1, you want something middle in, something you can really turn on and drive. That's a pitcher's pitch. Nice pitch by Rodriguez right there. Outside Black.
It skips to the plate. Ball 4. Dunn is on for the first time today. Oh. Wow, really, fans?
The crowd loves it.
Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, more interleague play, White Sox, Cubs, Yankees, Mets, or it's the Sean Casey sweepstakes, the Indians against the Reds. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball starts at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Dunn gets lifted. Mark Teahen will run. And Steve McCaddy is on his way out. Remember, John McLaren is the acting manager, the interim manager. He was kicked out of the game right around this time yesterday. Trent Jewett officially was the, manager of record yesterday. Riggleman had resigned. McLaren in his first game as interim manager was kicked out. And then in the 14th inning, a 9-5 win for the Washington Nationals, making them 12-1 in their last 13. And Sean, the game last night, so weird. Ozzie Guillen said afterward, "I don't know what to say." And we're talking about Ozzie Guillen. I mean, when he's stuck for words.
What was amazing about that game was these bullpens are both 2 of the best in baseball, and they just kept giving back the leads, You didn't think you'd see that from these teams.
Well, the White Sox had to come from behind from the 9th inning on 3 times. And eventually was a 9-5 final. Here is Rios. Strike 1. That just set up the fastball.
Yeah, it looks like he's having trouble throwing strikes with that fastball. And, the best pitch in baseball right there is strike 1. He's really been able to command that curveball right now.
Infield still a double play depth. That's 96 instead of 101, but he's still not throwing it for a strike.
Yeah, I mean, he's been up with 96. He's been in the dirt with 101. It really looks like his release point has not been consistent since he's been in this game.
Got a pair of pinch runners aboard here. Vizquel at second. Tian, who hit a big home run late yesterday. He's at first. Only run in this game, scoring in the bottom of the first inning on a sac fly. Rip and a miss at 99 mile-an-hour heat.
Who would have thought that run back in the first inning, we're just kind of getting things going, would be so big right now.
There's a chance the Nationals in the same week could win 1-0 on a sac fly and lose 1-0 on a sac fly. Didn't mean to, but that's in play. Bare hand pickup and no play for Hairston. Every Chicago hit in this game has been a single. 9 of them now.
There's that nasty curveball again. Rios just gets an excuse-me check swing. Almost a swinging bunt right there. Perfect placement. Hairston has no chance of getting Rios right here. Tries to do the old fake throw, get Vizquel around in third, but big break right there for the White Sox.
Still just 1 out in the inning. And the infield scooching in a little bit. They want that run coming home in a 1-0 game here in the 8th. Splintered bat. Chasing home 1. Looking for 2. The tag. Safe. Castro pumps his fist at second base. He has made it 3-0.
You see a fastball down right there. Castro just goes and gets it off the end of the bat, bloops it into right field. But that's why that hit by Rios, moving the runners up, is going to end up scoring 2 runs. But nice throw right here by Jason Worth. But Tian on his horse the whole way, gets in there safe. Castro was fired up.
Second and third in the infield in for Gordon Beckham in what is now a 3-0 game. Some oohs and ahs from the crowd as Beckham is backed out of there.
You know, this is what happens. I mean, Rodriguez throws 101 miles an hour, but it doesn't matter how hard you throw if you can't command the fastball. Right here, Beckham is in. He's been all over the place with his fastball. Hasn't been able to throw it for strikes, walking guys. And as soon as that starts to happen, that's when stuff like that with Castro off the end of the bat, bloop to right field, it's going to hurt you. But it doesn't matter how hard you throw in the big leagues. You got to be able to command the strike zone with your fastball.
That stated, Sean. How about these last 2 hits? Rios with a check swing roller. Castro just kind of serving it off the end of the bat into right. And after 14 straight hitless at-bats with runners on base today, the White Sox got hits on back-to-back pitches here to make it 3-0. Whoa. Just in case. And the ball getting away after all that. And then backed up by Desmond. Going to sniff around and make sure there's no squeeze happening.
Just in case right there. Got a 1-0 count. Good fastball count. Thinking that they might drop a little squeeze down here. But they weren't.
Again, the infield in. Very close to that fringe of the grass.
There's that fastball again. Rodriguez is just having trouble throwing that for strikes. The one pitch he's been throwing for strikes really is that curveball.
The walk. Lillibridge, top of the order coming up. But it will not be against Henry Rodriguez. They're going to summon Ryan Matthews, it would appear. And the White Sox have a chance to break this thing wide open in the bottom of the 8th inning. Still just 1 out. And back to Chicago in just a moment on Fox. Of the All-Star Game, you decide. Join the Midsummer Classics debate by going to MLB.com/moments to fill out your bracket. Tune in to Fox Saturday Baseball each week leading up to the All-Star Game. Check the runners: Rios, Castro, Beckham. Bottom third of the order here is on, and Ryan Matthews trying to clean up the mess. It is now 3-0 Chicago, and Brent Lillibridge, top of the order, scored the first run today back in the first inning. Cornermen in on the grass. And there's the squeeze attempt, and it's going to be good night, Nurse. Rios tagged out. The other runner's able to advance.
Yep. First pitch slider, great pitch selection right there, thinking it might still be coming, but Lillibridge thought, Ozzie Guillen thought, everyone thought it was going to be a first pitch fastball. Turns out to be a first pitch slider. Lillibridge can't get to it. Alex Rios is a sitting duck.
Yeah, the slider ends up being a pretty good call.
Great call right there.
And Lillibridge obviously had to offer at it, even though that pitch was way outside. Got to, right?
Yeah, and it was a late break, so Lillibridge just couldn't get the bat out there far enough to get that ball to even foul that thing off.
All it goes is a caught stealing. That dims the enthusiasm a bit here in Chicago, but they've got a 3-0 lead now instead of 1-0.
Washington had that feeling that they were going to do that, and they had pitched out before, looking for that squeeze, didn't do it once. Ozzie Guillen would have tried to do it again, thinking they wouldn't be ready for it, and they were.
Boy, can the White Sox win this one without an extra base hit? They might. They're up 3-0 here in the 8th. Tough inning for Rodriguez. Just never could command that fastball, I guess.
Just could not command it, whether it was 101 or 96. It seemed like his 101 was down, his 96 was up. He just could not command the strike zone today. The only pitch we talked about before was that curveball. It seemed to be the only one he was throwing for strikes.
Morel, who's already got 3 hits today, is on deck. Morel has out-hit the entire Washington Nationals team. It's 3-2. That makes him really good. in the air, right field. But Ramon Castro's big hit lifts it to a 3-0 score at the end of 8 here on Fox. Nothing happened for a while, then it got crazy. A 9-5 final, and note that in the 9th inning, there was a 3-run home run that was hit. That was by Mark Teahen, who's now in the game at first base. We got a 3-0 game here. A 3-run homer by somebody, obviously, would put us right on par for yesterday. Go 14 again. Now, Santos is going to take over on the mound and has not been giving up a lot of home runs, not a lot of anything really, but he did give up a home run last night. That was to Lance Nix, who is not due to hit quite yet or anything like that in the inning. He'd be the 8th man to bat if it gets anywhere near that far. Top of the order here is going to be Worth, Desmond, and Zimmerman due. And Santos 14 out of 16 knocking down saves. He throws hard. And the former Illinois State Redbird, Jason Worth. A 3-0 lead for the White Sox. This would be the first loss for John McLaren taking over. And again, the word is Davey Johnson, it's going to be done. He'll be the next manager of these Washington Nationals with the abrupt resignation of Jim Riggleman a couple days ago.
You have to wonder if Jim Riggleman right now, having a couple days to step away from this whole thing, thinks he made the right decision.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, Sean, that if he had to do it over again, would he have counted to 10 before asking for that meeting with Mike Rizzo?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say yes. I mean, maybe he would say no, but I'd have to think, stepping away for a couple days, you get your emotions in check. You realize maybe the best thing to do is to stay here and finish the season out and win some ball games.
You know what, though, knowing Jim Riggleman as I do, and I know you know him a little bit too, I mean, he is definitely a man who's got the courage of his convictions. He wants to look himself in the mirror and say, you know what, I don't deserve to be treated the way I feel I am being treated. Worth went around. But I think the question is appropriate to ask. Did the guy, I don't want to throw out the Harry Carey because that means something, but Harry Carey like falling on your sword, did he commit that by the action that he put out there? Will he ever work again in baseball?
I think he will. I mean, Riggs is really Jim Riggleman's a baseball guy, a guy that's well respected in this industry, and it's a small fraternity of guys. they get an opportunity to manage, and he knows a lot of people. So I think he'll land on his feet somewhere. I don't know if as a manager, but no doubt as a coach.
Very good baseball mind, no doubt about it. But one of the real stunning stories of this entire Major League season this past Thursday. Wild wave and a miss, and Worth is out number 1 in the 9th.
That's nasty right there. 87-mile-an-hour slider after he had come with mid-90s fastball the whole time.
Well, that's 29 times the Nationals have struck out now in the last 23 hours.
That's a lot of strikeouts.
Man, oh man. Well, still they have won 12 out of 13. If all they're doing today is hitting the pause button on something positive, that's okay.
Mike Rizzo said it before, and I was talking to Alex Cora before the game. He said it before too. We've been in every game. Our pitching has kept us in every game. Even though they're down 3-0 here in the 9th inning, they've been in this game the whole time. They just haven't been able to get that big hit or a couple guys on base. Gorzelani kept them in the game the whole game. Only give up that one sacrifice fly. So this is the difference about the 2011 Nationals. They're in games because they got great pitching.
Well, Davey Johnson is going to inherit something very positive. I mean, the arrow for this franchise obviously is pointing up.
It's pointing way up, and he's going to inherit some great players and some other great players that are on their way.
We note that this game's not exactly over yet, because if Desmond gets on, you're talking about Zimmerman and Morse coming up. One clue that Jim Riggleman wasn't going to win that battle with Mike Rizzo. If you look at the cover of the Nationals media guide, Sean, it's not a picture of Riggleman on there. It's Mike Rizzo who's on the cover.
Yeah, that's just sending a message to say that Mike Rizzo is a pretty important guy in that organization, and he really is with how he's drafted and developed some guys.
Got him. Desmond down on strikes.
Just reared back and blew him away right there.
By the way, tonight on Fox, strap in, brace yourself. Got 2 full hours of Cops coming up. The producer of today's game, Larry Lancaster, director Rich Russo, associate director Brian Biederman, the broadcast associate Jordan Wolf, got an all-star team put together. Technical director Rick Tugman. Pre-game show directed by Don Bowie. And Sean Casey, did you like your maiden voyage on Fox today?
Oh, man, I've had a great time on Fox today, Josh, and thanks for you for welcoming me here today. It's been great.
No, you were awesome.
Thank you, man.
Towards first, Tien's got it. Ball game. A 2-hitter for the Chicago White Sox on a day that John Danks went 1 2/3. The first relief appearance in the big leagues for Jake Peavy, and he gets a win. White Sox 3, Nationals nothing. Back in just a bit on Fox.